Hi everyone, I'm Brian on behalf of bryandarts, and I'm excited to do a frog room tour after almost 5 years of not releasing a frog room tour. I have quite a few new frogs, and so I figured I would do a little update on what I have in my collection right now and show you a view of the frogs. So let's begin. Alright, first I have my Ranatomia Imitator Terrapoto, and so you can see a view of their terrarium there. You actually have two of the Terrapotos up there, but I'll give you a view of their terrarium from this side here. Nice bromeliads. Some ferns and philodendrons, and you can see one of the guys right there. These guys are super bold frogs. We've had this type of frog before, but this is a new trio, hopeful breeding trio. So that's the Terrapoto Imitator tank. Next we have my Ranatomia Fantastica Varadero. And the Varadero Fantastica is up here, so I'm a bit hard-pressed to give you a view of their tank from the inside, just because we've had them actually climb out quite a few times. But you can see a nice philodendron in the back, oak leaf philodendron, and then some really nice ferns and bromeliads. You can see one of the guys back there, but I'm going to give you a good view of the frogs on each of these videos. But their tank is super nice, growing in really well. Custom protein tank design. That philodendron grows in super well, and we've got some bromeliad pups coming here. So nice tank, pretty bold frog, especially in groups. So we have a group of 4, and they seem really happy in that tank, and we're waiting for a hopeful male. Otherwise, I think we have all females. This tank we have our Ranatomia Imitator Varadero. We'll give you a view of the Varaderos. We have quite a few Varaderos, so I want to be careful about where those guys are. You can see a view of their tank. They have a pretty new terrarium, so there's a Varadero climbing up the wall. So we're hopeful that starts to grow in a little nicer, but they're super bold frogs. We have a group of them. We have a proven male, and then I believe we have a couple females in there, so you can see them. They're really pretty frogs. I really like them a lot. So super bold, like all imitators. They make for a great group of frogs. Next, we have my Ranatomia Amazonica Iquitos, also formerly known as Renitomia Vanzalini. And you can see our vent right there. Her tank's really nice. It's got a nice nice bromeliad going on there. So really, really nice bromeliad. So she loves that. And they're pretty bold frogs. We're hoping to get a couple more of them soon. So give you a view of those frogs, but nice tank. And they're really small, but we've had those guys for a while. I think this frog is probably about 10 years old, actually. So one of the original frogs in the collection. Right here we have my Ranatomia Variabilis. And the Variabilis is out and about today. They are super bold in groups. So the other guy is way in the back behind that there, but their tank is starting to grow in. We redid it recently, so it has a lot of growth to do, but it's got some nice philodendrons in there, some ferns, and then I'm not sure exactly what that plant name is in the back there, but they love it, and we hear our male calling on that tank, or on that plant pretty frequently, so nice terrarium for the Variabilis. Next, we have our Oofaga Pumilio Grande, and we currently only have one male, so we're kind of in the hunt for a female for this guy, and his tank also new and newly redone, so it's got a lot of growth. But I'll give you a view of those guys, or that little guy, pretty soon. So, nice tank, though. Give you a view of the plants there. This is one of our favorite plants that we have in a lot of tanks now. It's called Philodendron Birkin, and grows super well. A lot of our plants are pretty young, so the leaves get white, with like white striping, which you can kind of begin to see on that plant there, but nice frog. Down there are a couple spare 10-gallon tanks, so we'll have some frogs in there eventually, but right now they're empty. Next, we have our Ufaga Silvatika San Lorenzo. And the San Lorenzo Silvatika are actually surprisingly bold. You can see both of them there in the corner. Both female, so we're looking for a male of these guys. But like I said, they're pretty bold frogs. And they have a beautiful tank, really nicely grown in, really awesome philodendron. I love this philodendron, and they love it too. So definitely highly suggest that for plants. And I'm going to be doing a video entirely about plants, where I purchase plants from, and a whole tour of some of the plants that you can get, and you can see them, and where you can buy them. So we'll be doing that pretty soon. But that's the Silvatika San Lorenzo, 2 females, and we got them in 2014, so we're still looking for a male for those guys. But the bromeliad growth is really nice. You can see that there, and philodendrons are growing in really nicely too. And the frogs, like I said, are really happy in there. They're pretty bold frogs, so I'm very pleased with them. We'll come down here to our Dendrobate Tintorius Blue Sapalowini. This is one of our original frogs we've had forever, since the start of my channel, just about. You can see a view of their tank. All of our 10 gallons are getting redone, in the process of getting redone, so I'll have a better view of what those terrariums look like in a couple of months, in addition to some other frogs that are on the way. So stay tuned for another frog room tour soon, but that's their 10-gallon, nice sort of primitive pond. They really enjoy that tank, so that's the Blue Sapalowini. Next, we have my Dendrobate Trincatus Yellow. They have a nice little tank there. We only have one Trincatus, and he's pretty bold sometimes. He comes out and about in the front of the tank. He really likes his pond, so he really enjoys that tank. And we have some nice ferns, some lemon drop begonia, I believe is what this one's called. So let me see if I can get a better view of that. Yeah, you can see that there, sort of. So lemon drop begonia. You can go over there. It's flowering on this side. And then nice philodendron in the back, and this cool fern that I really like the leaves. It kind of turns red, and it's pretty neat. Not exactly sure what fern that is, but again, I'll have a entire plant video soon for y'all to see what kind of plants I pick. I put in these tanks. Next, we have a Dendrobate Tintorius Surinam Cobalts. You might have remembered our cobalts from before. We have a new young pair of cobalts that we're currently growing out. You can see him back there, cobalt, in the back. So they're little babies, but nice frogs, very bold. Their tank is pretty simple. Like I said, also needs to be redone. All the 10 gallons are getting redone, but we have a philodendron in the back there, some creeping fig, and the moss growth in these 10 gallons is really good, so we want to kind of preserve that. Next, we have Dendrobate Tintorius Regina. So they're pretty new. These are newer Tintorius to our collection. Nice tanks, got some philodendron in the back and this cool plant here. But again, we're redoing some of the tanks. Some of the plants haven't done so well, and so we have some redoing to do. But these frogs are pretty bold too. They're a little bit young, so they have some growing out to do. But we're really happy with the moss growth in these 10-gallon tanks. And the frogs are really cool too. Big fan of Tintorius. These are about the only Tintorius that we're going to keep, so we're transitioning to mostly Ufaga species, some Atelopus, and Ranatomia, but you'll see very soon that we mostly have Ufaga. This tank also needs to be redone, but currently houses our Dendrobate Tintorius Vanessa. Also relatively small frogs that were growing out. So in the next frog room tour, I'll have a view of what these 10 gallons look like redone, but you can check out their frogs. The Vanessas are really pretty. Next, we have our Dendrobates leucomelis, British Guyana. So these guys are really nice frogs, and you can see the terrarium again has to be redone. So we're actually doing that this weekend, but I wanted to get video out there of some of the frogs, long awaited 5 years in the making of this frog room tour. So I know everybody who's been following me for quite some time has been waiting quite a while for this video. So next we have one of our newest frogs, Atelopus balios, Gary line, and I'll give you a view of their terrarium. We just created it. It's got beautiful begonias in it. So you can see 2 begonias here, and nice ferns and Pumilio growth. And there's a cool little, I'm not sure if it's a philodendron, but it's a nice vining plant. And you can see one of the Atelopus right there. And then there's another Atelopus in the bromeliad, but I'm gonna give you a good view of those guys here. But nice view of their tank. You can see here, really nice plants, and again, little begonias growing up here, and this one's flowering, which is pretty happy. So, and that's the Atelopus balios. In this tank are just plant grow outs, but we have a couple begonias growing out here, and we have quite a few plants for our redesign. This is our backup pair of blue Cipollowini Tintorius, and I actually kind of like this terrarium a lot. It's pretty much overgrown with creeping fig, but different types, and the frogs are pretty pleased with it. So, and it has this really neat plant here too, which is nice. But these frogs are very bold, and this is our backup breeder pair of blue Cipollowini. All right, now we're going to come over here, and we have my Atelopus hugmoidi noshaw. I believe that's how you say it. But his tank is also one of the original terrariums, so not much has changed here besides, you know, plants have grown in a lot, and, you know, you can see there's some creeping fig in the back, and that same philodendron that I really enjoy growing in the back there. I'll give you a nice view of the Atelopus, and this is his tank. This is our second Atelopus that we keep in our collection here. All right, now coming over here, this is the fun wall, as I say. Right here I have my Oofaga Histrionica Redhead. And these guys are super bold. Some people say that they're a little bit shyer, but I really think that they're really bold. We have a trio of redheads that we keep. And so they must be just very pleased with their tank. But it's a pretty new terrarium, and so it's got some growing in to do. But overall, very pleased with the growth so far. So it's got some creeping fig, different kinds of philodendrons. Nice button fern here, and of course this orchid, which I'm not sure exactly what it is, but frogs seem to love it. So I'll give you a nice view of these guys. They're super bold, like I said, really nice frogs, and all a little bit different in their patterns. So very pleased with them. Down here I have my Epitabates Terribilis mint. So those are mint terribilis, and you can see this guy is right out in front. They're usually pretty good about me filming them, but you can see this guy. And so we just have a lot of ferns, and then we have this piece of wood, which is nice because it has like a underside that the frogs can go in and hide. So they really like that, and they're super bold frogs, like all terribilis. I've been wanting this type of frog for quite some time, actually, so I'm glad I finally got them. And we'll stay down here. We have another group of terribilis, orange blackfoot from Tesoros. And so their tank is growing in right now. I love these frogs. They're super, super nice. Very bold. So you can see that guy there. And then that's our big terribilis. But tank used to be the Trivitata, but we've since transitioned and got terribilis. So they have some philodendrons, some creeping fig, a couple of ferns and wood, and they seem pretty pleased. But the frogs are relatively young at this point, so we're hoping to find some breeding soon. So keeping our fingers crossed for those guys. Up here we have the Ufaga Pumilio Spotted Dorado. Another new Pumilio that we're keeping now. I don't want to mess with these guys too much because they are breeding. And they have tadpoles right now, so they're tending tadpoles. In that red bromeliad bear, actually, where the I think it's our female there. Our male, sorry. Where our male is hopping around. But we have some ferns. This Reniai sort of vining plant that we like, and then that philodendron that we have in a lot of our tanks. So these guys are super bold. One of our favorite Pumilios in our entire collection, and I'll show you some views of those guys. And they call all day long. And like I said, they're tending tadpoles. And we're not even sure how many. They have 3 on that leaf in the back, but we know of at least one definite tadpole that they're tending to. Next, we have our Oofaga Pumilio Rambala, which you can see one of those guys there. And I'll give you a better view of the Rambala, but their terrarium is one of my personal favorites. Came out really nice, and you know, these guys are actually a Pumilio group. They do well in groups. So their tank is super nice with all their bromeliads and another philodendron Birkin and that favorite philodendron in the back, and then some peperomia kind of plants, and then a nice epiphytic fern there. You can see right there growing underneath the bromeliads. So really nice tank, and the frogs are super happy. They call all day long too. So I'm a big fan of them. So they're really nice. I'm going to skip over here because I missed these guys, and they're calling and reminding me that I missed them. But this is our Ufaga Pumilio Timbi, which is a cologne, basically a cologne locale Pumilio. And so give you a view of their tank. Got some philodendrons in there, different kinds of philodendrons and bromeliads. And, you know, some ferns in there, too. And the frogs are super bold, and I love the Timbis, so I'm hoping that we can find ourselves a female. We have 2 males right now, and they get along pretty well. So I'm sure when the female gets introduced and, you know, the breeding starts to happen, that's when we might have to break them out into their own, you know, their own groups, which won't be a problem because I do love these frogs. They're really, really nice frogs, so... I'm going to go back over here, and we have our Ufaga Pumilio Bastamentos Gold Dust. And These are newer frogs for us. We had regular Bastimentos before, but now we have a group of gold dust in hopes that we can get one of those really special white gold dust Bastimentos. But their terrarium is really nice. Lots of philodendrons and bromeliads, and I believe there might be eggs or tending tadpoles in that bromeliad, but I'm not 100% sure yet. There's one of our Bastimentos right there. I think a probable female, so hopping up in the back. But we have this really nice epiphytic fern up here, which we love, and it's growing so well. There goes the Basti up the top there. You can see him. There he goes. Really cool frog. And nice terrarium, too. So Bastimentos, always bold, and one of our favorites. And like I said, we're hopeful we get some nice white cream Bastimentos. Next, we have our Epitabates tricolor Santa Isabel. We've had these guys forever, although their tank, I believe, has changed since y'all have last seen our frog room tour. So, you know, it's got some ferns, some philodendrons, and it honestly the tank needs to be redone a little bit, but I do love the wood, and they also love the wood, so, it's a nice tank, though. The plants are growing pretty well in it, and they have a pond, which they love, and of course, the moss growth in the pond is really nice, so they're very pleased with that. And then coming down here, we have our Ranatomia Vanzalini, which you can see the Vanzalini way up at the top. Kind of hard to see right now, but like I said, I'm going to put some videos in there. There we go. Good videos of the Vanzalini frogs. Oh, there he goes. You gotta be careful of these guys, they're quick. So this is the Vanzalini terrarium. Nope, he's coming way up front. You can kind of see him there. So I want to be careful of these guys. But their terrarium is super nice. Lots of bromeliad growth and, you know, philodendron growth too in the back there. We have 3 different types of philodendrons. And then this cool rambling plant that we just started keeping. So hopefully it grows in nicely. So that's our Vanzalini terrarium. And then that is actually going to do it for our frog room tour. We have, as you see down there, quite a few plants that we're going to be replacing terrariums with, and including this beautiful Masdevallia. It's actually blooming. You can see it there, kind of. So I will definitely keep you all posted. An update of a frog room tour, and you know, there's plenty of frogs to see. You know, everybody seems to be happy and out and about, and you know, we love all of the frogs that we're keeping now. So we're excited about what's coming new, and I have a nice couple of Histrionica that we're going to be keeping pretty soon. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, thank you all for joining in and staying with me after we have not had a frog room tour, like I said, in about 5 years. So it's long overdue. But follow me on Instagram at bryandarts and on Facebook at bryandarts to stay up to date with photos and pictures and other special content and videos of the frogs in the frog room and some of the frogs that we keep. But for now, this will conclude this frog room tour. I hope you all enjoyed, and stay tuned for a new one coming in a few months. All right, I'll talk to you all later, and thanks for following. See ya.